Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair and watched the alien leaders argue. The big meeting room on New Geneva Station was full of noise. Blue-skinned Altarians waved their 4 arms in the air. The tall, thin Valorians clicked their metal claws. On the table, even the peaceful Zephyrians were making worried, humming sounds. Jake kept his face calm. He had learned to do this over many years of dealing with aliens. Next to him, Dr. Lisa Grant was taking notes on her tablet. She wrote down everything the aliens said and did. This was her job as Earth's main expert on alien behavior. "The Zirathi Empire has destroyed 17 star systems," said Commander Vextar, the Altarian military leader. His voice was high and squeaky. "They have weapons we have never seen before. Our best ships cannot fight them." The other aliens nodded their heads. Some made scared noises. The Valorian delegate, a female named Crythana, stood up tall. She was almost 8 feet high. "My people have fought in space for 2,000 years, she said. "We have never seen such power. The Zirathi ships move faster than light itself. Their weapons can destroy a planet in minutes." Ambassador Kate Sullivan, Earth's top representative, leaned forward. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her voice was strong. "Perhaps Earth can help with this problem," she said quietly. Room became silent for a moment. Then many aliens started talking at once. Most of them were laughing. "Help?" said Commander Vextar. "No offense, Ambassador Sullivan, but humans are still very young. You have only been in space for less than 40 years. Your technology is ... basic. Very basic," agreed Crythana. "Your ships are slow. Your weapons are simple. What could you possibly do against the Zirathi Empire?" Jake watched the aliens dismiss his people. He had seen this many times before. The aliens always thought humans were weak and stupid. They looked at Earth's small ships and laughed. They saw humans as babies who needed protection. If only they knew the truth. Dr. Grant leaned over and whispered in Jake's ear. "The Zirathi just sent another message." "They want to talk to the Federation leaders," Jake nodded. He pressed a button on his communicator. "Put it on the main screen," he said. The big screen at the front of the room lit up. A huge, ugly face appeared. The Zirathi Emperor had red eyes and sharp teeth. His skin looked like black leather. When he smiled, it was not friendly. "Weak creatures of the Federation," the Emperor said. His voice was deep and scary. "I am Emperor Zarak of the Zirathi Empire. We have conquered 17 of your worlds. Your people died like insects." The aliens in the room made frightened sounds. Some of them stood up to leave, but the Emperor kept talking. "You have 1 day to surrender," he said. "Give us all your worlds, all your people, all your ships. If you do this, we will let some of you live as our slaves. If you do not surrender, we will destroy every planet in your Federation. You will all die." The screen went dark. The room was quiet for a long moment. Then the aliens started shouting again. "We must surrender," yelled one alien. "We should run away," screamed another. "Our fleets cannot fight them," cried a third. Jake looked at Commander Rick Hayes, who was sitting across the room. Rick was in charge of Earth's peacekeeping ships. He was a big man with short hair and cold eyes. Rick gave Jake a small nod. Ambassador Sullivan stood up. "Please, everyone, calm down," she said. "There is no need to panic." "No need to panic?" said Commander Vextar. "They will kill us all." "Perhaps," said Sullivan. "But Earth would like to try something first." The aliens stared at her like she was crazy. "What could humans possibly do?" asked Crythana. "Your entire fleet has maybe 50 ships. The Zirathi have thousands." Sullivan smiled. It was a strange smile, like she knew a secret. "We would like to send a message to Emperor Zarak. A diplomatic message." "Diplomacy will not work," said Commander Vextar. The Zirithi only understand force. Then perhaps, said Jake, speaking for the first time, we should show them some force. The aliens laughed again. Human force? Said Crythana. Your weapons are toys compared to theirs. Jake's smile was just like Sullivan's, cold and knowing. We have been part of this Federation for 37 years, he said. In all that time, have you ever seen humans fight a real war? The aliens stopped laughing. They looked confused. Well, no, said Commander Vextar. Humans are peaceful. You solve problems with words, not weapons. That is true, said Jake. We do prefer to solve problems with words. We have been very polite to everyone in the galaxy. We have followed all the rules. We have been good neighbors. He stood up and walked to the big window. Outside, he could see Earth's small fleet of ships floating in space. They looked harmless. They looked weak. But, Jake continued, politeness is a choice. It is not weakness. Dr. Grant closed her tablet and looked at the aliens. Has anyone here ever wondered why Earth keeps most of its population on the home planet? She asked. Why we only have a few million humans in space? The aliens looked at each other. They had never thought about this before. Or why, continued Dr. Grant, human exploration ships are built so strangely? Why they have such thick armor for peaceful vessels? Jake turned back to face the room. His friendly expression was gone. Now he looked like a soldier. The Zirithi Empire has made a mistake, he said. They have threatened our friends. They have threatened the Federation. He pressed another button on his communicator. Computer, send message to Earth Command. Use code phrase gloves off. The computer beeped. Message sent, Captain Morrison. Ambassador Sullivan stood up again. The Galactic Federation is now under Earth's protection, she announced. We will handle the Zirithi Empire. But how? Asked Commander Vextar. Jake smiled again, but this time it was not friendly. It was the smile of a predator. We are going to stop being polite. Outside the window, the small human ships began to move. They formed a line and pointed toward the edge of the solar system, toward the Zirithi Empire. The aliens watched in confusion as the humans prepared for war. They had no idea what was coming. They had no idea that humanity had been holding back for 37 years. Soon, the galaxy would learn what humans could really do. The next morning, Captain Jake Morrison walked into a smaller meeting room. This time, only the military leaders from each alien race were there. No politicians, no diplomats. Just soldiers. Commander Vextar was there with his blue skin and 4 arms. General Crythana sat across from him, her metal claws tapping on the table. A few other alien military officers filled the remaining chairs. They all looked worried. Thank you for coming, Jake said as he sat down. We need to talk about the Zirithi problem. There is nothing to talk about, said Vextar. We cannot fight them. Our weapons are too weak. Our ships are too slow. Jake opened a folder and pulled out some papers. Before we discuss fighting, I want to show you something. Dr. Paul Kim, our military historian, put together a small report about human conflicts. A thin man with glasses walked into the room. Dr. Kim looked like a teacher, not a soldier. He carried a tablet and seemed nervous around all the alien generals. Thank you, Captain Morrison, Dr. Kim said. He turned on a projector, and images appeared on the wall. I want to share some information about human military history. The first image showed soldiers from long ago. This is from something we call World War I, Dr. Kim explained. About 400 years ago, humans had a small disagreement. Only 65 million humans died. The aliens stared at the number. 65 million was more than the total population of some alien worlds. This was a small war? Asked General Crethana. Oh yes, said Dr. Kim. Very small. 20 years later, we had World War II. That was slightly bigger. Only about 75 million deaths. The images changed. They showed huge battles, destroyed cities, massive explosions. The aliens watched in silence. These were our learning wars, Dr. Kim continued. We learned how to fight on land, in the air, on the sea, and under the water. We learned about strategy and tactics. We learned about something we call total war. Total. War? Asked Commander Vextar. When every person, every factory, every resource is used for fighting, explained Dr. Kim. When the entire planet becomes a weapon. More images appeared. They showed nuclear explosions, space battles, and weapons the aliens had never seen. Of course, said Dr. Kim. After we learned how to fight, we had many more conflicts. The Mars War, the Moon Rebellion, the asteroid mining wars. Small things, really. Jake leaned forward. Dr. Kim, tell them about our current military. Well, said Dr. Kim, right now Earth has about 8 billion people. Most of them are still on the home planet, but about 10% have military training. The aliens did quick math in their heads. 800 million trained soldiers was more than most alien species had in total population. But that seems like a lot of people for a peaceful species, said General K.R. I single quotes THANA. Jake smiled. We are peaceful. We choose to be peaceful. But we are ready if someone forces us to fight. Commander Amy Torres walked into the room. She was the captain of a human ship called the Horizon's Edge. She wore a blue uniform and had short black hair. Captain Torres, said Jake, please tell our friends about your ship. The Horizon's Edge is a standard exploration vessel, Torres said. We use it for peaceful missions. Research, mapping, cultural exchanges. What kind of weapons does it have? Asked Vextar. Torres looked confused. Weapons? It's not a warship. It just has basic defensive systems. Could you show us these defensive systems? Asked Jake. Torres shrugged. I suppose so, but they're really nothing special. An hour later, all the military leaders were on the observation deck of New Geneva Station. Through the big windows, they could see Torres's ship. The Horizon's Edge looked small and simple. It was white and smooth, with no visible weapons. Computer, Torres said into her communicator, prepare for defensive demonstration. Target the asteroid field at grid 77 Alpha. Confirmed, Captain Torres, came the reply. Defensive systems ready. The aliens looked through telescopes at a field of large rocks floating in space. Some of the asteroids were as big as small moons. Fire, said Torres. For a moment, nothing happened. Then beams of light shot out from the human ship. The beams were so bright, the aliens had to look away. When they looked back, the entire asteroid field was gone. Not destroyed, completely gone. There was nothing left but empty space. What was that? Whispered Commander Vextar. Standard defensive plasma array, Torres said casually. Every exploration ship has them. You know, in case we run into space, pirates or hostile wildlife. General Crethana was staring at the empty space where the asteroids used to be. How many shots did that take? 1, said Torres. Well, technically, it was a 3-second sustained beam. We try to be efficient. Jake put his hand on Vextar's shoulder. Commander, what is the strongest weapon your fleet has? Our quantum. Torpedoes, Vextar said slowly. They can destroy a large asteroid with a direct hit. How large? Asked Jake. Maybe 50 meters across. Torres laughed. The asteroids we just destroyed were over 5 kilometers across, and there were hundreds of them. The room was very quiet. The alien generals looked at each other, then back at the human ship. Captain Morrison, said General Krythana, if that is a defensive system, what do your actual warships have? Jake's smile disappeared. We don't have warships, General. We haven't needed them. Everyone in the galaxy has been so polite. Dr. Kim spoke up. Actually, Captain, that's not quite true. We do have some military vessels. Oh, right, said Jake. I forgot about those. But they're old ships. We built them back when we first joined the Federation, just in case. They've been in storage for decades. How many? Asked Vexstar. Jake thought for a moment. I'm not sure. Maybe a few thousand? Dr. Kim, do you remember? The last count was about 15,000 ships, said Dr. Kim. But many of them are probably out of date by now. The alien stared at him. 15,000 warships was larger than most alien fleets. Out of date how? Asked General Krythana. Well, said Dr. Kim, they were built with 30-year-old technology, much less advanced than what we have now. Torres nodded. The Horizon's Edge is equipped with modern systems, much better than those old military ships. Jake looked out the window at the empty space where the asteroids had been. I think it's time we sent a message to Emperor Zarek. He pressed a button on the wall communicator. Computer, open a channel to the Zirathi Empire. Full broadcast. All frequencies. Channel open, Captain Morrison. Jake's face appeared on screens across the galaxy. Every Zirathi ship, every Federation world, every space station received his message. Emperor Zarek, Jake said, his voice calm and clear. This is Captain Jake Morrison of Earth. We represent the human species in the Galactic Federation. He paused and looked directly into the camera. The Federation is under our protection. You have threatened our friends and allies. This is unacceptable. Jake's expression grew cold. We are giving you one chance to withdraw your forces and leave Federation space. This is not a request. This is not a negotiation. This is your only warning. He leaned closer to the camera. Emperor, you have made the mistake of thinking that politeness equals weakness. You have confused our choice to be peaceful with an inability to fight. Jake stood up straight. You have 24 hours to begin your withdrawal. If you do not leave, you will discover what humanity calls total war. You will learn why we choose to be polite. The transmission ended. The room was silent. Commander Vexstar looked at Jake with new eyes. Captain Morrison, are you really going to fight the entire Zirathi Empire? Jake looked out at the human ship floating in space. Commander, we've been preparing for this fight for our entire history. We just hoped we would never need to use what we learned. He turned back to the alien generals. The age of human politeness is over. Emperor Zarek's response came 12 hours later. His ugly face filled every screen in the galaxy again. He was laughing. Foolish humans, he said, showing his sharp teeth. You think you can threaten the mighty Zirathi Empire? We have destroyed civilizations that were fighting wars when your species was still living in caves. Jake Morrison watched the broadcast from the command center of New Geneva Station. Around him, alien leaders looked scared. Even the brave ones were shaking. We have decided to make an example of you, continued the Emperor. Our first battle fleet is already on its way to your precious Earth. We will burn your home world to ash. Then we will hunt down every human in the galaxy. A transmission ended. The room was quiet, except for the sound of alien breathing. Captain Morrison, said Commander Vexstar, you must run. Take your people and hide. The Zirathi first. Battle fleet has over 3,000 ships. Jake pressed a button on his console. Admiral Rodriguez, are you there? A new voice came through the speakers. It was deep and strong. Yes, Captain Morrison. I've been waiting for your call. The diplomatic phase is over, Admiral. You have command. Understood, Captain. It's been a long time since we've had a real fight. Admiral Ben Rodriguez appeared on the main screen. He was an older man with gray hair and scars on his face. He wore a black uniform that the aliens had never seen before. "Ladies and gentlemen," the Admiral said, looking at the alien leaders, "I am Admiral Rodriguez of the Seoul Defense Force. As of now, all human vessels are under military command." "Seoul Defense Force?" asked General Krythana. "We have never heard of this organization." The Admiral smiled. "That's because it's been classified for 37 years. We didn't want to scare our new alien friends." Outside the station windows, the aliens watched something amazing happen. The small human exploration ships began to change. Metal panels slid away. Hidden weapons appeared. The ships grew larger as armor plating unfolded. "What is happening?" whispered Commander Vextar. Captain Amy Torres, who was still in the room, looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry we lied to you," she said. "The Horizon's Edge isn't really an exploration ship. None of our ships are." "What are they?" asked General Krythana. "Warships," sighed Torres. "Every single human vessel in space is a military ship. We just disguise them to look peaceful." Dr. Alex Turner, a new human who had just arrived, stepped forward. "I'm the head of weapons development," he said. "For the past 30 years, we've been telling everyone that our mining equipment was for collecting resources." "It wasn't?" asked Vextar. "No," said Dr. Turner. "We were building weapons." "Those mining lasers? They're actually plasma cannons." "The cargo ships? They're filled with missiles." "The research stations? They're military bases." Admiral Rodriguez spoke again from the screen. "Captain Torres, please prepare the Liberty for combat operations." "Yes, sir," Torres replied. She pressed buttons on her wrist device. "Computer, declassify the Liberty. Full combat configuration." Through the windows, the aliens watched the largest human ship begin to transform. What had looked like a peaceful research vessel became something else entirely. The ship was huge, bigger than anything the aliens had ever seen. Weapons appeared along its sides. Fighter ships launched from hidden bays. "How big is that ship?" asked General Krythana. "The Liberty is 12 kilometers long," said Torres. "It's our smallest dreadnought." "Smallest?" Commander Vextar could barely speak. "We have 36 ships of this class," explained Admiral Rodriguez, "plus about 500 cruisers, 2,000 destroyers, and 15,000 fighters." "Oh, and the support ships. Dr. Turner opened his tablet. "We also have some new weapons we've been wanting to test. Antimatter missiles, gravity bombs, dimensional cutters, things like that." "Dimensional cutters?" asked an alien general. "They cut through space itself," explained Dr. Turner. "Very effective against shields and armor." Jake Morrison had been quiet during all of this. Now he spoke up. "The first Zerathi fleet will be here in 6 hours. Admiral Rodriguez, are you ready?" "More than ready, Captain. We've been preparing for this for decades." Lieutenant Colonel Steve Mitchell entered the room. He was a big man with muscles and scars. He looked like he had been in many fights. "Colonel Mitchell will lead our first response," said the Admiral. "Steve, tell them about your plan." "It's simple," said Mitchell. "We're going to meet the Zerathi fleet at the edge of the solar system. We'll use about 50 ships for this engagement." "50 ships against 3,000? said Commander Vextar. "That's suicide." Mitchell smiled. "Don't worry, Commander. We've been studying Zerathi tactics for months. They like to attack in big groups, all at once. They think numbers are everything, aren't they?" asked General KRI single quotes TANA dot double quotes. "Not if you know what you're doing," said Mitchell. "Humans learned a long time ago that tactics matter more than numbers." 4 hours later, the alien leaders were in the observation deck again. They had telescopes and sensors pointed at the edge of the solar system. They were about to see their first human space battle. Zirithi fleet detected, announced the computer. 3,200 ships. They are moving fast. Our ships are in position, reported Captain Torres. 50 vessels ready for combat. The aliens watched their screens as the two fleets approached each other. The Zirithi ships were black and ugly like their emperor. They moved in a huge swarm, racing toward the human ships. The human ships waited. They were in a neat line, much smaller than the enemy fleet. It looked like they would be destroyed quickly. Human fleet, this is Emperor Zarek's general, came. A voice over the radio. Surrender now, and we will kill you quickly. Colonel Mitchell's voice replied. Zirithi fleet, this is Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell of the Sol Defense Force. You are in human space. Leave now or be destroyed. The Zirithi general laughed. 50 ships against 3,000? You are insane? We're not insane, said Mitchell. We're human. There's a difference. The Zirithi fleet attacked. 3,000 ships fired at once. The space between the fleets lit up with energy weapons and missiles. But the human ships were not there anymore. They had moved faster than the aliens thought possible. The Zirithi weapons hit empty space. Where did they go? Ask Commander Vexstar. There, said Torres, pointing. They're behind the Zirithi fleet. The human ships had somehow moved around. The enemy in seconds. Now they were attacking from behind. But instead of fighting all the Zirithi ships at once, they were hitting small groups. They're separating the enemy fleet, explained Dr. Kim. Classic human tactic. Divide and conquer. The battle was not like anything the aliens had ever seen. The Zirithi ships were fast and strong, but they were fighting like individuals. Each ship tried to be a hero. The human ships fought as a team. When one ship was in trouble, others came to help. When they attacked, they all attacked the same target. They moved like they were one giant machine. The Zirithi are losing, whispered. General KRI single quotes THAN. She was right. The enemy fleet was falling apart. Human weapons were destroying Zirithi ships faster than the aliens could count. The dimensional cutters cut through shields like they were made of paper. The antimatter missiles exploded with the power of small suns. In 17 minutes, it was over. The Zirithi fleet was either destroyed or running away. Only 5 human ships had been damaged, and none were destroyed. This is impossible, said Commander Vexstar. How did 50 ships defeat 3,000? Jake Morrison looked out at the battle site. Pieces of Zirithi ships were floating in space. Because, he said, we've been fighting wars for thousands of years. We know how to do this. Admiral Rodriguez appeared on the screen again. That was just our greeting, he said. Now the real fleet is coming. Real fleet? Asked General Cryfano. Through the windows, the aliens saw something that made them afraid. Ships were appearing everywhere, hundreds of them, then thousands. They came from behind planets, from asteroid fields, from empty space itself. We've been hiding our fleet throughout the solar system, explained Jake. What you just saw was our scout force. The aliens counted the ships appearing around them. 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. The numbers kept growing. How many ships do you have? Whispered Commander Vexstar. Jake Morrison smiled. It was not a nice smile. Enough, he said. More than enough. In the distance, more Zirithi ships were coming. The Emperor was sending his main fleet. But now the aliens understood something important. The humans had been playing with their enemies. A real war was just beginning. Emperor Zarek was very angry. The aliens could see it on his face when he broadcast his message across the galaxy. His red eyes were glowing with rage. You destroyed my first fleet, he said, his voice full of hate. But that was nothing. Now, I am coming personally. I bring with me the Grand Armada, 50,000 ships, the greatest fleet in galactic history. Jake Morrison watched the broadcast with his alien allies. The command center was quiet. Everyone was thinking about 50,000 enemy ships. This is my main battle force, continued the Emperor. Every ship is a dreadnought. Every captain is a veteran of 100 battles. We have conquered entire galaxies with this fleet. The Emperor leaned closer to the camera. Humans, you will pay for your insult. I will destroy your Earth. I will hunt down every human in the universe. Your species will be extinct in 1 week. The transmission ended. Commander Vexstar looked at Jake with worried eyes. Captain Morrison, 50,000 ships. That's more than all the Federation fleets combined. It is a large fleet, Jake agreed, but numbers are not everything. A new voice spoke from the doorway. No, they are not. Everyone turned to see a woman in a black uniform walking into the room. She was tall, with short gray hair and cold blue eyes. The other humans in the room stood up straight when they saw her. Fleet Admiral Nina Clark, Jake said. I didn't expect you so soon. The situation has changed, Captain Morrison, said Admiral Clark. When an enemy threatens to destroy Earth, I come personally. She looked at the alien generals. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Supreme Commander of all human space forces. I have been fighting wars for 40 years. I have never lost a battle. But 50,000 ships, said General Krythana. How can you fight so many? Admiral Clark smiled. It was a cold, dangerous smile. Let me show you something. She pressed buttons on her wrist device. Computer, declassify the solar fleet. Full reveal. The aliens ran to the windows. What they saw made them step back in shock. Ships were appearing everywhere. Not hundreds or thousands, but tens of thousands. They materialized from behind planets, from inside asteroid fields, from hidden bases throughout the solar system. We have been building ships for 37 years, explained Admiral Clark. Every time we told you we were exploring, we were. Really building military bases. Every time we said we were mining, we were really making weapons. Colonel Tom Wilson walked up to the Admiral. He was a big man with scars on his face. Admiral, the Orbital Assault Division is ready. 12,000 ships, all prepared for combat. Thank you, Colonel, said Admiral Clark. Captain Parker, what about the stealth operations? A thin man with dark hair stepped forward. Captain Jim Parker looked like he could disappear into shadows. We have infiltrated the Zerathi command structure, Admiral. We know their battle plans, their communication codes, their ship positions. Infiltrated? Asked Commander Vexstar. How? We have been watching the Zerathi Empire for 2 years, explained Parker. We have spies on their ships, their planets, their command centers. They never saw us coming. Dr. Beth Cooper opened her tablet. She was a small woman with thick glasses. Admiral Clark, I have completed the analysis of Zerathi weaknesses. Their ships are strong, but they have several problems. Tell us, said Admiral Clark. First, they only know how to fight in straight lines. They attack directly, all at once. Second, their communication system is very old. We can block their signals easily. Third, their commanders are proud and stupid. They will not work together. Admiral Clark nodded. Perfect. We will use all of these weaknesses against them. She turned to the alien generals. Would you like to see how humans really fight? 6 hours later, the aliens were watching the biggest space battle in galactic history. Emperor Zarek's Grand Armada had arrived at the solar system. 50,000 ships in a massive formation. They looked like a black cloud moving through space. Human fleet was waiting for them. But instead of one big group, the human ships were spread out in small formations. They looked like they were running away. "Why are your ships retreating?" asked General Krythana. "They're not retreating," said Admiral Clark. "They're positioning." Emperor Zarek's voice came over the radio. "Humans, I see your pathetic fleet. Running away. You cannot escape. Surrender now and I will let some of you live as slaves." Admiral Clark picked up the radio microphone. "Emperor Zarek, this is Fleet Admiral Nina Clark of the Solar Fleet. You are trespassing in human space. Leave now or face the consequences." The Emperor laughed. "Consequences? I have 50,000 ships. You have maybe 20,000. You cannot win." "Emperor," said Admiral Clark, "you are about to learn why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." The battle began. The Zirathi fleet attacked in a massive wave, just as Dr. Cooper had predicted. All 50,000 ships moved forward together, firing every weapon they had. But the human ships were not where the Zirathi expected them to be. They had moved again, using their superior speed and tactics. The Zirathi weapons hit empty space. "First phase complete," reported Colonel Wilson. "The enemy has revealed their positions." "Excellent," said Admiral Clark. "Begin phase 2. The human ships attacked from all sides at once. They came from above, below, behind, and in front of the Zirathi fleet. But they did not attack randomly. They hit specific targets: command ships, communication centers, supply vessels. They're cutting the head off the snake," explained Dr. Cooper. "Without commanders and communications, the Zirathi fleet will fall apart." She was right. The enemy. Ships began to move in confusion. They could not talk to each other. They could not receive orders. Some ships attacked their own allies by mistake. "Phase 3, ordered Admiral Clark. "Stealth ships, you are clear to engage." Suddenly, thousands of new human ships appeared inside. A Zirathi formation. They had been invisible, hiding with advanced technology. Now they attacked from the inside, while the main fleet attacked from the outside. The Zirathi fleet was trapped. They could not move forward, backward, or to the sides. Human ships surrounded them completely. "This is impossible," whispered Commander Vexstar. "How did they get so many ships inside the enemy formation?" Captain Parker smiled. "We've been hiding ships in their fleet for hours. Our stealth technology is very advanced." The battle was turning into a massacre. Zirathi ships were being destroyed by the hundreds. Their weapons could not hit the fast-moving human vessels. Their shields could not stop the advanced human weapons. "Emperor Zarek is trying to escape," reported Colonel Wilson. His command. "Ship is breaking away from the main fleet." "Let him go," said Admiral Clark. "I want to talk to him." She opened a communication channel. "Emperor Zarek, this is Admiral Clark. How do you like fighting humans?" The Emperor's face appeared on the screen. He was not laughing anymore. He looked scared and angry. "This is not possible. My fleet is the strongest in the galaxy." "Your fleet was strong against weak opponents," said Admiral Clark. "But you made a mistake. You attacked a species that has been fighting wars for thousands of years. You attacked humans." "I still have ships," said the Emperor. "I can still win." Admiral Clark looked at her tactical display. "Emperor, you started this battle with 50,000 ships. You now have less than 10,000. In 30 minutes, you will have none." "You cannot destroy all of my ships," said the Emperor. "Watch us," said Admiral Clark. She gave a signal. Every human ship in the solar system turned toward the remaining Zirathi vessels. The aliens watching from the station could see the human fleet clearly now. There were over 30,000 ships. "You have been playing with us," said the Emperor. "You could have destroyed my fleet immediately." "Yes," said Admiral Clark, "but we wanted to send a message. Not just to you, but to everyone watching. We wanted the galaxy to understand what happens when you threaten humanity." The final phase of the battle lasted 15 minutes. When it was over, the Zirathi Grand Armada was completely destroyed. Only a few ships escaped, including the Emperor's command vessel. Emperor Zerak's face appeared on the screen one last time. He looked broken and defeated. "How?" he asked. "How did you become so strong?" Jake Morrison stepped forward. "We never became strong, Emperor. We were always strong. We just chose to be peaceful." He looked directly at the camera. "For 37 years, we have been gentle with our galactic neighbors. We have been polite and friendly. We have followed every rule and respected every treaty. But you made a mistake," continued Jake. "You thought our kindness was weakness. You thought our choice to be peaceful meant we could not fight." Admiral Clark spoke next. "Emperor, humanity has fought wars that would destroy most civilizations. We have weapons that could crack planets in half. We had strategies that could defeat fleets 10 times larger than yours. But we chose not to use them," said Jake. "We chose to be good neighbors. We chose to protect the weak instead of conquering them." The Emperor stared at them through the screen. "Then why did you hide your true power?" "Because," said Admiral Clark, "the galaxy was not ready for the truth. If other species had known how strong we really were, they would have been afraid. They would have attacked us out of fear. So we pretended to be weak," added Jake. "We let everyone think we were just another young species learning about space. We wanted to give the galaxy time to know us as friends, not as conquerors." Dr. Cooper looked up from. Emperor Zarak sat in his damaged command ship, staring at the stars. His Grand Armada was gone. 50,000 of his best ships destroyed by humans in less than 2 hours. His red eyes were full of rage and fear. "My Emperor," said his chief. "Advisor, a thin alien with purple skin. What are your orders?" Zarak did not answer for a long time. He was thinking about the human fleet. So many ships, such advanced weapons, such perfect tactics. How had he been so wrong about them? "Send a message to all Zirathi worlds," he finally said. "Full withdrawal. Every ship, every soldier, every base. We are leaving Federation space immediately." "But my Emperor," said another advisor, "we still have forces scattered across the galaxy. We could regroup and attack again." Zarak turned to look at him. His expression was cold and tired. "You did not see what I saw. Those humans were playing. With us, they could have destroyed our entire fleet in the first minute if they wanted to." He stood up and walked to the window of his ship. "We thought we were conquering a weak Federation protected by children. Instead, we attacked the most dangerous predators in the galaxy." Back on New Geneva Station, Jake Morrison was dealing with a different kind of problem. The alien leaders wanted answers. They wanted to understand how humanity had hidden their true nature for so long. "Captain Morrison," said Commander Vextar, "how did you fool us for 37 years?" Jake sat down at the conference table. Around him were the same alien generals who had laughed at human weakness just days ago. Now they looked at him with respect and fear. "It wasn't hard," Jake said honestly. "You saw what you expected to see. Young species are usually weak, so you assumed we were weak too." Dr. Susan Lewis, Earth's expert on alien psychology, joined the meeting. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but the aliens now knew that appearances could be deceiving. "Dr. Lewis," said General Krythana, "did you plan this deception from the beginning?" "Yes," said Dr. Lewis. "When we first met other alien species, we studied their behavior. We learned that most of you judge others by their technology and military power." She opened her tablet and showed charts and graphs. "We realized that if you knew how advanced we really were, you would either worship us as gods or attack us out of fear. Neither option was good for building friendships. So we created a false image," continued Jake. "We pretended our warships. were exploration vessels. We called our military bases research stations. We made you think we were harmless." Commander Vextar shook his head. "But why? Why not just conquer the galaxy? You obviously have the power." Jake looked out the window at Earth's fleet. Thousands of ships floated in perfect formation. "Because conquest is easy, Commander. Any species with enough weapons can destroy their enemies. But building something? Creating peace? Protecting the weak? That requires wisdom." President Helen Adams appeared on the main screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and a gentle smile. But now the aliens knew that even human leaders were more than they seemed. "My fellow beings of the Federation," President Adams said, "I want to speak to you about humanity's true mission in the galaxy." She looked directly into the camera. "For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We had wars that killed millions. We built weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We almost destroyed ourselves several times. But we learned from our mistakes," she continued. "We learned that strength without wisdom leads to destruction. We learned that the greatest victory is the war you never have to fight." General Chris Robinson, head of Earth's Psychological Warfare Division, stepped into view. He was a big man with sharp eyes and a serious expression. "When we first entered Galactic Society," said General Robinson, "we had a choice. We could use our military power to dominate everyone else, or we could use it to protect them. We chose protection," added President Adams. "For 37 years, we have been the secret guardians of Federation space. Every pirate attack that was mysteriously stopped, every aggressive species that suddenly became peaceful, every unexplained accident that happened to would-be conquerors, that was us. Dr. Lewis showed more data to the alien generals. We have been watching and protecting every Federation world. We stopped 17 wars before they started. We prevented 43 planetary invasions. We eliminated over 200 criminal organizations. And you never told us," said Commander Vextar. "We didn't want credit," said Jake. "We wanted peace." President Adams continued her broadcast. "Today, the galaxy has seen what happens when someone threatens the Federation. The Zirithi Empire learned that humanity's politeness is a choice, not a weakness." She paused, and her expression became more serious. "But there are other threats out there. Our sensors have detected something approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Something powerful and hostile." Commander Matt Thompson, Jake's military aide, entered the room with urgent news. "Captain Morrison, long-range probes have identified the new threat. It's something called the Void Collective. They're machines, not biological life." "Machines?" asked General Krythana. "Artificial intelligence," explained Dr. Lewis. "A robot civilization that consumes entire star systems for resources. They've been destroying galaxies for millions of years." The alien leaders looked scared again. If the Zirithi Empire had been frightening, what could destroy entire galaxies? "How many ships do they have?" asked Commander Vextar. "Unknown," said Thompson. "But early estimates suggest over 1 million vessels." Jake Morrison stood up and walked to the window. The human fleet was already moving, preparing for another battle. 1 million ships, he said quietly. "That's a respectable force." "Respectable?" said General Krythana. "Captain Morrison, how can you be so calm?" Jake turned back to the room. His expression was the same as it had been when facing the Zirithi. Calm, confident, and slightly amused. "General, the Void Collective is about to make the same mistake as Emperor Zarek. They're going to assume that because we look peaceful, we're easy targets." President Adams smiled on the screen. "The Void Collective has been destroying primitive civilizations for eons. They've never faced a species like humanity." "What makes humans so different?" asked Commander Vextar. Dr. Lewis answered. Most species develop either technology or warfare, but not both at the same level. Humans developed both together. We are scientists who think like soldiers, and soldiers who think like scientists. We don't just build weapons, added General Robinson. We build strategies. We don't just fight battles. We win wars before they start. Jake pressed a button on his communicator. Fleet Admiral Clark, what's the status of our deep space defenses? Admiral Clark's voice came through clearly. All systems operational, Captain Morrison. The Deep Space Fleet is moving into position. The Void Collective will face 150,000 human warships when they arrive. 150,000? Whispered General Crefana. That's just the first wave, said Jake casually. If they prove to be a serious threat, we'll deploy the Home Defense Fleet as well. How many ships is that? Asked Commander Vextar. About 500,000, said Jake. Plus the planetary defense systems, the orbital weapon platforms, and the Special Projects Fleet. Dr. Lewis looked up from her tablet. Captain Morrison, the Void Collective has just sent a message. They're demanding that all organic life surrender or be eliminated. Jake sighed. Dr. Lewis, please respond to their message. What should I tell them? Jake smiled. It was the same cold, dangerous smile he had shown Emperor Zarek. Tell them that the organic life in this galaxy is under human protection. Tell them they have one chance to leave peacefully. And if they refuse? Asked Dr. Lewis. Then, said Jake, they'll discover that humans have been developing anti-machine warfare for centuries. They'll learn what happens when artificial intelligence meets human creativity. President Adams spoke again from the screen. Citizens of the Federation, humanity has protected you in secret for nearly 4 decades. Now that secret is revealed. You know who we really are. She looked directly at the alien leaders in the room. We are not your conquerors. We are not your masters. We are your guardians. And we will continue to protect you, no matter what threatens this galaxy. The transmission ended. The room was quiet for a moment. Captain Morrison, said Commander Vextar, what happens now? Jake looked out at the stars where the Void Collective was approaching. Now, Commander, the galaxy gets to see what humans do when we stop being polite entirely. He pressed another button on his communicator. Computer, send message to Earth Command. Authorization code Alpha 77. Deploy. Project Prometheus. Project Prometheus? Asked General Crefana. Jake's smile became even more dangerous. Our experimental weapons division. The toys we've been saving for a really serious threat. Outside the window, new ships began to appear. These were different from the other human vessels. They were larger, stranger, and somehow more frightening. Even the aliens could feel the power radiating from them. The Void Collective has been destroying galaxies for millions of years, said Jake. But they've never fought humans before. They're about to learn why that was their first and last mistake. He turned back to the alien leaders. After all, we're still feeling polite. But our definition of politeness is about to change. In the distance, sensors detected the approach of the machine fleet. 1 million ships, each one designed to consume.